Could we turn down the volume a little bit on the lavalier? Perfect. Good morning and welcome. As we light our chalice, would you read the words on the slide behind me? Or repeat after me. So I'll say one line, and then you repeat that line. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism.
We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism.
We are a church of open minds.
We are a church of open minds.
We are a church of loving hearts.
We are a church of loving hearts.
We are a church of helping hands.
We are a church of helping hands.
Together we care for our earth and work for friendship and peace in our world.
Together we care for our earth and work for friendship and peace in our world.
So welcome to the Unitarian Church of Lincoln on this Sunday morning. It is so good to be together. My name is the Reverend Oscar Sinclair. We're joined today by our choir under the direction of Julie Enerson, with Bill Carpenter on the piano. And just in case this isn't really clear, this is the first time the choir has sung together in person in 25 months. So it is good to be together. The last couple of years have been strange ones. The way that we've met has often changed. The form of our meeting has changed. What we do when we meet has changed. But whether in person, on Zoom, on a YouTube live stream, or some way of being that we cannot yet imagine, worship is a chance to deepen our connection with the things that give meaning in our lives. It's a chance to proclaim who we are and what we're about at this congregation. We say that the Unitarian Church of Lincoln aspires to be a loving community, uniting reason with spiritual exploration to transform ourselves and our world. Which means that we do a lot of different things, but all in the service of becoming better people and creating a better world. Today is going to be one of those days where we do things differently. We have the choir. That's different and wonderful. It's also one of the first all-ages services we've had in a while. So we're going to do a brief review. The single most important thing about a church, bar absolutely none, is what? People. Okay, yep. Little people. little people and big people. Because think about this, in your day-to-day lives, how many places do you go where on purpose do you have people that are 80 years different in age doing the same thing together? What other place does that exist? Other than Walmart, where does that exist? Also, I hope my daughter likes church more than she likes grocery shopping. So when we do an all ages service, we do it differently. I'm not going to preach for 20 minutes. We're going to have kids up here a lot. There's going to be sounds of life in this room. There are going to be butts that wiggle. Some of those butts will be 3 years old and some will be 89. And that's okay. That is good. That is wonderful. That is how this goes. Over 2 years ago, we did this service during the pandemic where we would have kids. I did a whole service cooking dinner with Ailish from my kitchen. But we could edit it. And so this is your reminder that we are live, and we will not be editing this all ages service today. All right. Back to the script. The other thing that we're going to be doing is, today is Easter Sunday. It is also Passover. It is also Ramadan. Those three holidays overlap about once every 33 years. So while I usually take Easter as the one Sunday where I just unapologetically talk about Jesus for the whole time, because we don't do that often in this church, we are actually not going to do that this morning. We're going to lean into the Passover story. It's important for reasons that you can ask me about in coffee hour that we not actually conflate those two, that we not try and do both Easter and Passover at the same time. So we're going to lean into the Passover story today. If that's not what you were expecting when you came in, that is another thing that makes church church. All right. So let us begin with music. If you would please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing our first hymn. This is actually in the UU hymnal, though we will not use the UU lyrics. This is Go Down Moses.
I would love for some children and families to come up front for our story. It's going to be very interactive, and I need some help. So can children come to the front, please? Can you come sit up here? All right, so today we're going to do a story, which is also a song, and it is called Chad Gad Yah. Can you say that? Chad Gad Yah. So these words roughly translate to the words an only goat in Hebrew. And it is a song traditionally sung at a family Passover service. But in order to tell this story, I will need for you to help me sing the chorus, which is very easy, and it goes like this. Chad Gad Yah, Chad Gad Yah. Can you do that? Chad Gad Yah, Chad Gad Yah. One more time. Chad Gad Yah, Chad Gad Yah. All right. I also need to tell you that the story mentions some ancient coins, which are called zuzim. Can you say that word? Zuzim. They're coins. I'm going to need some helpers to help hold these signs when I say the word. All right? So first, I need kind of an older child to hold this goat sign. Who can hold a goat sign? Xavier, you would do a good goat. To help me. All right, Nick can do the father. All right. So when I say zuzim, Father, you're going to help remind people that these are coins. When I say goat, we're going to say what a goat says. What's a goat say? All right. Come up here so people can hear me on the microphone. All right. I also need someone to help be a dog. You have hands raised. Mary, you want to be a dog? Okay, over here. Oh, okay, we'll let you be a dog. Can you stand there? All right, Julie, can you help with the staging of this? Okay, that way I can stay at the microphone. Okay, so we need a cat. Cat, there we go. I know you want to be the cat, Mira. All right. So right there, next, cat. Okay, and all right. So the dog says. The cat says. All right. And when we say these, yep, you're going to hold up your sign real high so the people in the back can see it. So let's practice. Xavier, goat. Nah. Okay. And what's your name? This is Escher. Yeah, Escher, hold up your dog. Okay, Mira, hold up cat. Okay, and we need somebody to be a stick. And I know you're gonna clap your leg when I say stick. All right.
Oh, are we on? Is that gonna be stick? Facing out.
Okay, and then fire. Dax, did you want to be fire? And the fire says, crackle, crackle. Okay. And then water, Cora. Oh, we're running out of room up here. We got a few more. Yep, the water says whoosh. And cow. Need someone to be a cow. Ailish, there you go. Hi. Okay, and we need a person. Pretty easy. Can you be a person? Pretty easy to be a person. Okay. All right, this one. Oh, wait, person says hello. Hello. All right. And then we have the angel of death. And we go, ooh. All right, Rivers. death. And lastly, this is the very last one, so this is your last chance to volunteer if you want to. This one is the Holy One of Blessing. You're all wondering what the picture looks like, aren't you? The picture, I put a chalice with a question mark. That's fitting, right? Unitarian Church. Okay, Holy One of Blessing, and we're going to go, ah. Okay, Holy One of Blessing. All righty, we have Julie. It's fitting. All right. Okay, so let's practice all of this. Okay, so Father, do your coins. There we go. My father bought for 2 zuzim. We do coins. Goat. Hold up your sign. Meh. Dog. Cat. Stick. Fire. Water. Cow. Person. Angel of death. Holy One of Blessing. Okay, now do you remember at the start I taught you a song? Let's do that a couple times. Ready? Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Again. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. One more time. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. All right, we're ready for the story. First came the goat. My father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the cat. Oh, we're out of order. Oh, dogs, Escher and Mira, switch spots. There we go. Okay, then came the cat that nipped the goat. Okay, try it again. All right, then came the cat that nipped the goat. My father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the dog that licked the cat, that snuggled the goat. My father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the stick that fetched the dog, that licked the cat, that sat on the goat. My father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the fire that sparked the stick, that fetched the dog, that licked the cat, that played with the goat. My father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the water that splashed the fire, that sparked the stick, that fetched the dog, that licked the cat, that ignored the goat. My father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the cow that drank the water, that splashed the fire, that sparked the stick, that fetched the dog, that licked the cat, that ran from the goat. My father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the person that milked the cow, that drank the water, that splashed the fire, that sparked the stick, that fetched the dog, that licked the cat, that sang to the goat. My father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the angel of death that spared the person, that milked the cow, that drank the water, that splashed the fire, that sparked the stick, that fetched the dog, that licked the cat, that batted the goat. My father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad Gad Ya, Chad Gad Ya. Then came the Holy One of Blessing, who passed over the angel of death, that spared the person, that milked the cow, that drank the water, that splash the fire, that spark the stick, that fetch the dog, that lick the cat, that meow to the goat. My father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad gad ya, chad gad ya. Okay, one final time, but we're going to do it faster. Ready? You ready for it fast? Then came the Holy One of Blessing, who passed over the angel of death, that spared the person, that milked the cow, that drank the water, that splashed the fire, that sparked the stick, that fetched the dog, that licked the cat, that meowed to the goat. My father bought for 2 zuzim. Chad gad ya, 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 chad gad ya. And that's it. Thank you. Okay, come sit right down.
So if at this point you're wondering where the goat was in the book of Exodus and how that fits into Passover, perfect. That's how it's supposed to go. Each week we set aside a time in our time together to share joys and sorrows with each other. The things that make us happy, make us happier when we get to share them. The things that make us sad, make us less sad when we have people that care about us around us. So we take a little bit of time every week to tell each other what's making us sad and what's making us happy. So we'll start out, and this is for adults and kids. If there is somebody or yourself who is feeling sad today, if you would just say their name into this shared space. Thomas. Ukraine. Kaylee. Stuart and Dana. Brother David. Arthur. Craig. Orly. Bernard. Chris. Trish, Barb, and BJ. Mark. We carry a lot. Every time we come together, there is grief that we share, even on a celebratory, slightly madcap day. We come together to share that grief, but also because coming together is a celebration every time. So what are some names of people who you are excited or happy or joyful about today? Roger. Daryl, George. Gene Helms. Gene Helms, who sent us a postcard today.
Which is on the office window if you'd like to read it. Carl and Pam Hausner, here from Kansas City. Carl's going to be my new housemate as he takes a job. His company moved here from Kansas City. And
Wonderful.
it makes sense to stay here for work and commute to Kansas City on the weekend.
All right, well, Carl and Pam, welcome. Linda Brown.
I'd like to celebrate all the people who were helping hands last weekend. Mary Silvermeyer, Earl Kramer, Kathy Disney, Julie Anderson, Jackie and Bob Egan, Tim Johnson, Linda Brown. They helped myself and my stepmom move from one
I would add the whole of the choir that is here.
Yeah.
Friday was Marcia and Ray's 45th wedding anniversary.
My mom's doing better at Tabitha.
Mom's doing better at Tabitha. We don't have anything in the chat that I can see, but we'll hold a moment of silence because we know that there are a moment of multi-age silence. Because we know that there are things that are exciting that we don't want to talk about yet, and there are things that are sad that we're not ready to talk about yet. But all those things we feel. So we'll take a moment to acknowledge those not yet spoken. Amen. Our next hymn is number 123, Spirit of Life. We'll stay seated for this one. We're going to have a moment to welcome our new members who have joined in the last year. So I'm going to invite those taking part in this portion of the service to come forward. Do we have a handheld microphone? I'm going to go get a handheld microphone and we'll take a brief moment. We'll just test this real quick. Yes.
Hi, I'm Judy Hart, and I serve this congregation as the vice president of our board of trustees. Lori Stratman was going to be here this morning, but she didn't feel well, so I'm stepping in for her. Today we have the privilege and honor to welcome new members who've freely chosen to join the Unitarian Church of Lincoln. Membership is a hallmark of our tradition, and the gathered membership of a church is the highest authority in Unitarian Universalism.
So friends and members of the Unitarian Church of Lincoln, today we welcome new members, or a new member, into this congregation. This is a non-creedal church. There's no doctrinal test for membership. We don't say what you must believe to be a good Unitarian. We honor different spiritual paths, knowing that all are called to search for truth and meaning.
Since our charter members joined together in 1898, membership in the Unitarian Church of Lincoln has been marked by signing these two books right here. And so these are the people that have become members in the last year: Bob Burns, who joins us this morning, and also Judy Kelly, who could not make it.
So Bob, now I get to ask you this question. You have come before us to join yourself to this church. What is it you wish to receive?
We come from different backgrounds. We have walked other religious pathways. We come to be assured that we are among supportive friends, that our voices will be heard in reading and singing, and in discussion and decisions. We come to share our talents and our gifts. We are here to join in community with all of you.
And have we, members and friends of this congregation, prepared a place in this house and in our hearts to receive these people into community with us? Your response is printed here. If you can't read it, Jason will read it as well.
We have a place for them and receive them warmly. This is a place of friendship and freedom. We guard their dignity and worth as we do our own. In our search for truth, we honor their right of free expression. This church is a cradle of our dreams and a workshop for our common endeavors. We gladly share it with them.
Bob, you are welcome here. We will now present you with a rose, a symbol of new beginnings in this place.
And I now charge you, as a new member of the Unitarian Church of Lincoln, to share with us your creative thoughts, your vital experiences, your questions, your doubts, your discoveries, and the principles which matter most to you. Is this person before you welcomed into our community? If so, say,
They are with great rejoicing.
So, we're actually going to go sign the book as part of the service. We haven't done this in a while. Thank you. Yep.
I have some helpers today. Are you going to stand with me? Okay. This is the first time Milo's been to church in 2 years. Up, okay. So our story next is called More Than Enough, Dayenu, a story for Passover. And if anyone would like to come see the pictures better, you're welcome to come forward. Again, this is an interactive story.
Mama, I'm just sing with you.
You're going to sing with me? Oh, good.
Up here, my dad.
You're going to sing right there at the microphone? Oh, look at this. All right.
This service may go a couple minutes long.
Mama.
And Milo thinks the song goes jingle bells, jingle bells. The word Dayenu is Hebrew for meaning it would have been enough. Can you say Dayenu?
Dayenu.
Dayenu. Can you say that? Dayenu. It is a reminder to have gratitude, to be grateful for what is in your life. You're going to sing in there? Okay. You can think of it like this. You woke up this morning. Dayenu. It would have been enough. But not only did you wake up this morning, but Dayenu. You had food available for breakfast. Not only did you wake up this morning, have food available for breakfast, but you were also healthy enough to come to church. Dayenu. It would have been enough. Not only did you wake up, have food available, were healthy enough to come to church, but you saw smiling faces here and children to greet you. Dayenu. That would have been enough.
Mama, I'm just sing.
You're catching on? You're going to sing it? Okay, say Dayenu.
Dayenu.
Good job. All right. So traditionally, this is sung in Hebrew and follows along with the story of the Torah. Not only did we escape from Egypt, but Moses parted the sea for our safe passage. Not only that, but we were also delivered safely through the desert. Not only that, but we were sent the Torah. Dayenu. So much to be grateful for.
Mama,
So I'd like your help with this story.
Mama, I'm to keep singing.
You're going to keep singing. Okay, good, because we're going to say Dayenu a lot. Dayenu is another song that is sang at Passover, and it goes like this. It's just one word, very easy. You ready? Dayenu. 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 we'll sing that a couple times in our story, and at other times, we're just going to say the word Dayenu one time. Are you going to say it again?
Dayenu.
All right. So the more excited that you are about singing, you can clap your hands, stomp your feet, or express yourself however is fitting to you. So let's start by singing our verse again. Ready, Bill? Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Again. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. We wander the market surrounded by colors. Dayenu. We buy apples and walnuts, lilacs and honey. Dayenu.
Dayenu.
We reach through the bars to lift one purring kitten, and the kitten licks Mama's nose. So she says we can keep him. Dayenu. Wait, is that rain? Do you hear rain? Yes, it's rain. We can taste it. We've been waiting for rain. We splash in the puddles, get in the car, and then sing on our way home. We'll sing our verse. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Kitten gets to meet Daddy as we carry in our groceries. Dayenu. We chop apples and walnuts and mix in the grape juice. Dayenu. We soak in blue bubbles and dress up for dinner. Dayenu. We dash through the puddles with our bowl of haroset, the food we just made. Dayenu. We skip into Nana's and show her who we've rescued. Dayenu. We set out our plate with foods that are symbols of freedom. Let's sing our song. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. We ask the 4 questions and all sing Dayenu. There are matzo balls, chicken, and jellied fruit slices. We search high and low for the lost Afikomen. Dayenu. We open the door for Elijah the prophet and meh like a goat when we sing Chad Gad Yah. Dayenu. We play with our kitten and Mama says bedtime. She sings us Eliyahu. Dayenu. She kisses our foreheads, a purring warm kitten, a feast in our tummies, night rain at the window. Dayenu. A Passover finished with wonderful memories. Dayenu. We dream of spring, of freedom, of love for one another, for all that is good in our lives. Dayenu. And as we sing our verse one last time, think to yourself, what would have been enough? But life has gifted you with even more beauty and wonder than you ever could have expected. With all the gratefulness in our hearts, let's sing it through twice. Got that? All right. Ready? Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. More energy. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Dayenu, 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 Dayenu. Thank you. All right, we can head back to our seats.
Hi. Apologies to Mary Kay if she's here. That's from last week. Every week we take up an offering to support the work of this church and our partners in the world. As the choir sings this next song, the ushers will pass a plate. Also, you can give by texting UC Lincoln and the amount you wish to give to 73256. That's UC Lincoln and the amount you wish to give to 73256. The offering will now be gratefully received. Hi. So we're we're going to do something a little bit different this morning. This week is Passover, the celebration of the Jewish people getting free from slavery in Egypt. And it's a holiday, like all the best are, that it's not actually best celebrated in a church on Sunday morning. It's celebrated around a table with food on it. So we're going to invite any kids that want to come up and join us, or join my daughter, up here in front for this next part.
There's going to be food.
There is going to be snacks. So a Passover meal is called a Seder. I'm just going to keep talking for a little bit here. And we're not going to do a whole Seder this morning because it is very, very long. We have done abbreviated versions of Had Gadya and Dayenu this morning. For adults, my teacher taught me years ago that the Seder lasts for 4 specifically blessed glasses of wine. And she did not underfill them. So imagine a leisurely meal with family, reclining around a table, probably with some kind of celebratory drink in hand, telling the story to the kids of how the family got here, what the family story is. That's the celebration. And we're not going to do all of it today. We don't have the time for one, and unlike a lot of holidays, it's actually right to celebrate this at home with your family. But on this table, we're going to put a bunch of foods and then talk about them, because all of the different foods that go on the table tell part of the story. Just as a note, much of the material that we're using this morning comes from a Haggadah, so a Seder script written by David Schwartz. You might recognize that name. He is a Jewish Unitarian Universalist minister and folk singer. We played one of his songs to send Jean off on sabbatical a couple weeks ago. So we'll set the table and begin. So we usually start out by washing our hands. Don't know that we're going to do that, but maybe we can pretend to wash our hands. Can everybody do that? We do that, it's said, because our bodies are part of this holiday. We'll just put it all out. Okay. Our bodies are part of the holiday. So when we talk about freedom, we aren't just talking about freedom for the soul, we mean freedom for our bodies, ourselves. We wash our hands because, as David Schwartz puts it, our hands are instruments with which we work in the world. It's our hands which plant and write, which caress and create, and also our hands that strike and smash. So we wash our hands not to give up responsibility, but to affirm the need to make our hands holy. At this season of blessing and rebirth, we wash our hands. And then we say a blessing. We're going to just do this real quick. What is it going to be? Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing is to say a blessing. This is grape juice. It is not. Oh, Ailish Margaret. Okay. You got to stay down, kiddo. I know, it's rough. Okay. Yes, note that what we are pouring is grape juice, not wine. And we say the blessing, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Blessed are you, source of all being, the fruit of the vine. So I think we are going to hand out, Ailish Margaret, there's going to be, look, we're doing the blessing for the wine.
If you want grape juice, you can.
adults, we're going to have all of these things out in the coffee hour, but we decided to not have a chaotic day today and not invite you all up to partake, but just focus on children. But this will all be out in the coffee hour space.
The next is a green vegetable, and we have some parsley here. So parsley is a symbol, well, a green vegetable is a symbol of spring, of growth, and of life. The story of Passover starts as a sad story, and so we dip the leaves into some salt water. Okay, did you catch that, you guys? We're going to dip these leaves into some salt water. Tears are salty, and so we remember that rebirth and sadness are sometimes mixed up with each other. So you can take a little bit of green, we're going to dip it in some salt water, and then you eat it. Or if you don't want to, you don't have to. Or if you decide to put it in the trash, you can put it in the trash. Sometimes we throw tears away. If anyone would like to try the salt water, I have salt water right here. Or you can just take the green.
So how does that taste? Salty, bad. Like an herb? Yeah. Usually there's a real meal that has chicken soup afterwards. So matzah is probably the most famous food from Passover. Sometimes the whole holiday is called the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and we're actually going to start passing this around. Let's see. All right. But why might that be? While you're getting pieces of matzah here, has anybody made bread with their family?
What?
Have you made bread with your family ever?
I've made cake.
You've made cake?
I made bread with my mom.
Okay. What about grown-ups? Have you ever made bread? It's a good Unitarian audience there. After 2 years of the pandemic. All right, so when you're making bread, how do you make bread? How does it go? All right, you put flour, water, yeast, and then what do? You wait. As our forefathers did before us, you plug it in. And then you wait. And then you wait, because it takes bread a long time to rise. And so when we tell the story of Passover, we tell the story of these people who had to leave their homes very, very quickly. And so they had to leave before their bread had time to rise. And so when you take bread out before it has had time to rise, you end with a very flat cracker, which is matzah.
On the table every year are two more things, maror and chorosis, bitter herbs and apples. Oh, don't climb on that, please. Rabbi Bunham said at the Seder, bitter herbs and apples, they represent the mortar that the Israelites used to build in Egypt and the bitterness of slavery. Rabbi Bunham said, at the Seder, we eat the matzah first and the bitter herbs next, though that seems backwards since we suffered and later went free. There is a reason for this. As long as they had no hope of redemption, they did not feel the bitterness of their lives. But as soon as Moses spoke to them of freedom, they awoke to the bitterness of their slavery. Sometimes we make a sandwich because the sweetness and the bitterness are better together, and because Rabbi Hillel is said to have liked matzah sandwiches.
We're considering horseradish here.
So far, so bad.
I know.
There you go. She's weird. How good?
On fire, yeah, we have more apples.
No,
If anyone wants to take the taste of horseradish out of their mouth.
we're going to leave the horseradish on the table. If you want some more, it'll be right there.
Sorry about your book.
Oh, it's fine. The last thing on our table is an orange. And there are at least a couple people in this room going, an orange on a Seder plate, what on earth are we doing? Well, here's the story. In the 1980s, there was a rabbi named Susanna Heschel. Her father was Abraham Heschel, who was good friends with Martin Luther King. And she went to a Seder and heard this story about a rabbi who said that lesbians have a place in Judaism like a crust of bread has a place on a Seder plate, which is a hateful, hateful thing to say. And so Susanna Heschel decided that they needed some way to respond to that. She said, this is Susanna Heschel, bread on the Seder plate renders everything forbidden. And its symbolism suggests that being different is transgressive, is wrong in Judaism in some way. So Heschel wrote that I felt an orange was suggestive of something else. I've lost my script here. I'm in the wrong section. There we go. Okay. Heschel was inspired by the story about the bread on the Seder plate, but she couldn't follow it literally. Because besides the fact that it would make everything, the dish, the table, the meal, the house, unkosher for Passover, it carried a message that to be different was to be somehow wrong. So the next year, Susanna Heschel put an orange in the middle of her family's Seder plate. She said, I chose an orange because it suggests the fruitfulness for all Jews when all are contributing and active members of Jewish life. So we would say now that the orange covers everyone, not just lesbian and gay folks, as Susanna Heschel wrote, but the whole LGBTQIA spectrum, including trans and non-binary folks. It's not a navel orange, It's supposed to have seeds that you spit out to symbolize spitting out hatred. And the orange is segmented, but it makes up a whole. Its pieces are different, but make up a single fruit. And it's for this reason that we have an orange on the Seder plate today. So there is room for everyone around this table. And we are losing our table. So we are gonna keep it moving.
A story about stories. When the founder of modern Hasidism, the Baal Shem Tov, saw misfortune threatening the Jews, it was his custom to go into a certain part of the forest to meditate. Can you all take a deep breath? And there he would light a special fire, say a prayer, and the trouble would be averted. Later, when his disciple, the Rabbi Magid of Mezrich, had occasion for the same reason to intercede with heaven, he would go into the same place in the forest and say, Master of the universe, listen, I cannot light the fire, but I know the place and I can say a prayer. Still later, Rabbi Moshe Leib of Sasov, in order to save the Jewish people, would go into the forest and would say, I cannot light the fire, I do not know the prayer, but I know the place. Then it fell to Rabbi Israel of Rizhim to overcome misfortune. Sitting in his house, his head in his hands, he spoke to God. I am unable to light the fire, and I do not know the prayer. I cannot even find the place in the forest. All that I can do is tell the story, and this must be sufficient. And it was sufficient. That was the end of the story. Can you say, that's the end of the story?
That's the end of the story.
You can head back to your seat.
So for the last time, we'll head back to our seats and invite the choir up. So may we shine the light of love in this place and the places that we go forth to. The lesson of Passover is pretty simple. Once a year, get your family together, tell the story of how you got there, and enjoy each other. Families of birth, families of choice, families of whoever walks in the door. Go in peace, everybody, and amen. Oh, and thank you again to the choir. My goodness. Right, there is one announcement. There is a canned food hunt happening after the service. We had a go, no-go if it was raining. It is not currently raining.
I think it's outside. Wait for a bell and come to the patio area, and I will give you further instructions. Listen for the bell.
Yep, go to the patio when you hear a bell, if you are hunting for canned food.